Hey everybody, Sean here, and welcome to Revealing Truth. Yes, my friends, it's time for another chapter from Storytime with Bobby Connor. If you're new to this channel, we call it Storytime with Bobby because, aside from Cat Kerr, Bobby Connor has more outlandish stories, or should I say lies, than anyone else online. He's the guy that when he was promoted by Todd White said that God told him to cuss. He's personally met God, Jesus, angels, demons, and Satan, and says he spoke a squirrel into existence. Says that an angel gave him the spear of Phineas, yet can't show us that spear to this day. Says that the cloud of witnesses walked into his room, that God taught him mouth kissing. Yuck. And shares how he time traveled with false prophet Bob Jones. Or how about when he met a 300-year-old man and was told that some people can choose to stay alive until Jesus returns? The time when he healed an alien-looking lizard boy. False teacher Jeremy Nelson tells a story of when Bobby was cut in half with a saw, but then miraculously was put back together. And then there's the time when blue fire shot from Bobby's hands in church. And how could we forget the time that Jesus personally showed up to Bobby's cabin to christen it? So if you weren't aware of Bobby Connor, this is who we're dealing with today. The Bible warns us of greedy teachers that'll make up stories to exploit us and will deceive people with smooth talk and flattery. Matthew 7:15 calls these people wolves in sheep's clothing. They're pretending to be Christian, but they're not. And on a side note, if you look under the playlists here on Revealing Truth, you'll find many people you may be interested in learning more about. There's currently 217 playlists to choose from and over 1,000 videos. But today's video is yet one more story to add to the Bobby Connor playlist of nonsense that he can't prove.
Do you believe in angels, don't you? I'll tell you what happened to me, Jeff. I was off down in Brazil. And they had a sanctuary just about like this one, only the balcony was full of people and this part was full. And I'm here preaching, walking around like this, and they had the cameras just like these are shooting up on the screens here. And then suddenly, I see hundreds, multiple hundreds of me up in the air above the heads of the people in the balcony. Now I go, wow, they've got technology to shoot like a hologram. That's what I thought. I'm sure God thought, well, he sure is dull. But so I'm watching me up in the air, hundreds of me up in the air. This is in Brazil, and I'd move, they'd move. I'd turn like this, they'd turn like, I'd turn back like this, and they'd turn that way. I thought, dear Lord, that is amazing. And then he goes, shoo, and all of those hundreds of me up in the air above the people's head in the balcony turned into angels that you could see. Each one of them had a writing instrument in their hand, and they started recording something. I said, God, who in the world is that? He said, that's the angels I have assigned to your message. They follow you to the meetings, and they watch the people in the meetings to see whose heart your message will turn, and then they're sealed. That's why they look like me. Isn't that amazing?
None of these stories can be verified or supported by Scripture, so you either believe he's some favored man of God, or, if you call him out, you're told not to touch God's anointed.
I'm telling you, angels travel around with us. I was up there in Phoenix, Arizona, and Bob Jones, and we was preaching in a Patricia King meeting.
Birds of a feather, my friends.
And I walked by the front, and Bob's sitting right there, and Bob goes, hey, boy. That's what he talks to me about. And he goes, hey, boy. I said, yes, Bob. He said, there's a big angel with you. I said, yes, Bob, I can feel him, but I hadn't seen him. And Bob said, well, he's behind you and he's big. So I went on down this way, but Patricia King was sitting by Bob, and she heard Bob say that. So she said to her videographer, the woman that takes pictures, said, start taking pictures. So she took a bunch of pictures, and guess what? The angel showed up in the pictures. Right behind me is this big old figure of fire, just looked like a burning man, maybe 3 times my size, and they shot it up on the screen, and people began to scream. And old Bob goes, yeah, I told you he's big. Yeah.
This is Clowns Entertaining Goats. It's truly sad that so many people are being deceived by people like Bobby.
It's okay. Now, I know that I'm tired of people having these preconceived ideas about how the prophets are supposed to be. Wonder what all this is over here. This hey, look here. Look here. You talked about them gemstones falling. I found a whole bucket full of them. You know, look here. Here. Look here. Seriously now, I better watch out. Seriously, most of the places we go and preach, diamonds fall. We've had people on their hands and knees picking up diamonds. I said that one time, and I looked and I said, well, here's one, and I kicked it like that, and the woman said, it's mine! It fell out of her ring. But it's true. But most of the times where we preach, diamonds fall.
How people believe this is beyond me. Most of the time when he preaches, diamonds fall? So that's more than 50% of the time and over many decades. Yet the only person we hear about this from is Bobby. People just believe him and don't ask for any evidence of such a whopper of a lie. As said at the beginning, Scripture has warned us of these false teachers, and Bobby Conner is definitely one of them. So if you weren't aware of him, he's definitely on the list to mark and avoid. But we're going to leave it here for today, so feel free to leave your comments below. And until next time, take care and God bless.